give me 1 second. I gotta do a few things. How's it going? All right. All right, cool. I think we're up. I'm gonna throw. I just threw the stream link in chat if you guys want to watch that as well. And then let me do one more thing. This video is, it's struggling quite a bit, so if you guys could just go take a look at it, leave a comment, let it play through, that'd be awesome. That is what we're going to be discussing in this live stream, so it would also be beneficial there. So just threw those in both chats if you guys want to check those out, and then we can go over some stuff. You can watch it in either place. But yeah. Alright, we'll do, let's see, we have one person wanting to speak, so Lobster Mike, you can speak if you want. I just invited you. If not, then we'll go ahead and get started. How's it going? How's it going? What's up? Do you have a question? Oh, okay. Alright, here, I'm gonna move you back to the audience then. Alright. So we'll go ahead and get started then. Yeah, you can ask a question if you hop into the stream, but what we'll first do is, if you guys want, we'll go over this morning's price action. And then how I used, oh wow, what is that? Yeah, something's wrong with that. Let me see if I can, there we go. We can go over this morning's price action and then how I use the relative strength analysis in my trading. Oh, I gotta share my chart in the Discord. Alright, you guys should be able to see it in Discord now as well as YouTube. But, so the first thing I went to was I looked at the daily, right? And for me, there wasn't a whole lot on the daily. Let me get rid of this. I have a recording of me doing this morning. Maybe I'll edit it and post it. But the main thing I looked for was, okay, we had this reaction out of here. We reached up, right? ES into this order block, NQ not into that order block. Not a whole lot of bias here for me, just because of how these candles closed, etc. So what I really just looked for is I marked out previous day high and low, and then I just went into the lower time frames to see if I can frame something on a lower time frame, right? So then I dropped down to an hourly chart, and you can see I have the previous day high and low marked out, right? So here's previous day high, right here and right here, previous day low, right? And so what I immediately noticed was ES is a lot weaker. And we can also see that because if we go to our ES divided by NQ chart, right, we get this reversal here and we're continuing lower, which means, right, if this is going down, ES is weaker. So I was also using that. Let's go back to the chart. And then what I was looking at was this hourly fair value gap, right? Because if we were going to move higher, we're going to need to disrespect that, right? And then reach for these highs. If we're going to go lower, we're going to respect that, right? If we get a Judas swing up, right? Up, then down. And then what I noticed was we get this SMT, right? So just know that's in the hourly fair value gap here. So even without the relative strength analysis, you can see that ES is a lot weaker here, right? Can't even reach up into the fair value gap, while NQ does. But let's drop down to the 15. Oh, and then the only thing I marked out was these order blocks right here, right? Up close candle, move into an up close candle. So that's what that blue line is. And then from here, I kind of just hung out. I wanted to move up into that fair value gap, and I knew if that was going to happen, I'd want to see it on NQ since it was stronger. And so if you're in indices chat, I was trying to frame a trade like this. So expecting this is our fair value gap high. I reach into that. I was looking to frame a trade off this volume imbalance, right? With an order block, right? And if you look on the 15 order block, fair value gap, I was looking to frame a trade onto that just for about 2R. And I was going to have my stop on this low, right? So I was looking for that. However, it already hit the target prior to coming to my entry. So I deleted that. Then I went back out, went back to the normal narrative where it's looking lower. And then this is where I switched my focus to ES just because relative strength analysis, right? And so we'll just go and focus over here. The only thing we'll look at is you can see we make this SMT with NQ. What does NQ do? It respects this fair value gap, right? So that's the main thing to notice there. Now we're going to hop into here. And what happens here is SMT on the highs, right? Displacement down. We have 10 a.m. news right here, so I see that coming. But the main thing I'm looking for is, this is a 15-minute breaker, right? Low, high. I'm anticipating that to come through. Or, you know, you could say this is a failed order block, whatever you want to call it. But price wicks into this area, right? It reaches into the consequent encroachment, a little bit above it. We mark this out, right? So you can see into the consequent encroachment above it. So I'm considering this fair value gap as mitigated, right? And then I would see the body close back below here, right? So to me, that's still bearish. And then next candle, this is prior to the 10 a.m. news. This is when I expected a continuation lower. So if you look in indices chat, I posted, let's go to replay. It's like right in here. And I had the power 3 indicator up, right? And this is at 10, we get a new hourly candle. So I'm expecting open, high, low close, right? So bearish. And if you notice, see how this hourly just wicks over everything, closes back in. So if you watch my intraday bias, you can see how you would expect that to go down, right? And then we get a move lower. Where do we go? This is our previous day low I had marked out. And then we go to this consequent encroachment of the daily fair value gap, right? And a few other levels resting there. So that's kind of the main review. And then after that hit, I was done. So I wasn't really interested in this. But if I was to be looking for something, I'd personally be looking at NQ, right? Just because I anticipate it to move higher because of the relative strength, right? And you can kind of see that, right? We do get displacement here, but NQ just moves a little bit higher relative, right? We go look at this high over here, NQ reaches up, hits that high, right? This is that same high. ES doesn't reach for it. So that's kind of the morning review. Now we can go over any questions you guys might have just about the relative strength topic. Yeah, what's up, Cam? Let me check the chats for any questions real quick. I put a suggestion video. Okay. All right, let's see. Trade before or after CPI. I personally don't trade prior to 8:30 news. That's just personally what I do. But I'll trade prior to 10 a.m. news. Good afternoon, good evening. Check on gold. Honestly, it didn't go as planned. I mean, I can take a look at gold. Go out to the daily. Oops. Back to there. Give me a second. I gotta close my window. You can hear the cars. All right, we are back. So taking a look. Do I hold a position through 9:30? Yeah, I will. If it hasn't invalidated me. But as for gold, right? I mean, pretty clear we're trending down here. We sweep this high, move lower. This doesn't really convince me too much. We come back up, respect OTE, right? Back into a premium, displacement down. This is the candle that kind of tells us where we're going. That's what I'd be watching. Then we move lower. Then I'm looking at these up close candles. Then I'm looking at this up close candle. It doesn't quite return to it. We're going to continue down as long as we respect up close candles, right? So it's kind of gold analysis for me. How do I use New York Open? I use it more so in terms of the daily profile. So, for example, what's that? Like ES today, right? I'm using it more as a gauge to see what happens, right? So if we're gonna have like a sell day or like a big move down, I'm wanting to see that London makes that high day, right? Or generally high day. It doesn't quite, or well, it does. You can see makes the high right there at 2. London makes that high. As long as we continue to respect this bearish order flow, when we get into this open here, I think of one or two things. It's either going to continue lower or it's going to reverse back to this daily open. Once we put in this SMT, then it gives me that clue, let's say, to continue lower. Then that's when I search for entry lower, right? Prior to this, right? Prior to the SMT, I was thinking we possibly could continue higher, right? Because I'm not super biased on the daily. Let's see. But yeah, mostly it comes down to my bias, right? And then I use daily profiles. Daily, hourly, M15, 5. I mean, should be able to see it on my screen up here. Those are the ones I look at. Is there an RS chart for Forex pair like EUG? Yeah, that's EG. So I'll go over that in another video, but it's the same concept. I was struggling with the up-down movements. On what ticker? Yeah, this is, guys, this is being recorded here. If you can't find the, or if you can't see my screen in the Discord, just click here. And that will help you out. You always look for entries during session time or put a limit order. I don't just leave limit orders sitting generally. I always look for my entries in kill zones. Shock, I'm not sure what you meant by I struggle with the up-down movements, wondering how you trade such a day. Because I don't know what ticker you were talking about. Euro USD. Excellent. I mean, that doesn't look fun. Well, yeah, I mean, we're inside day, right? So we just took out a large pivot, large range day. Generally, these are the days where I don't really do a whole lot. Because if we're stuck inside, what does this look exactly like? Let's go on a replay. Get rid of all those lines. See how we get a larger range day? Can't take it out, right? Then we move, now large range day, can't take it out. It's like personally, I'm not watching that or dollar really. I looked at dollar this morning just to kind of get insight into the indices and it didn't really tell me too much. The only thing I was kind of looking for was that. but I didn't reach for it yet. So it's just still inside day. So I don't really have bias for that. I mean, I personally, if I'm watching Euro here on the daily, I'm personally not trading this day. So like in terms of bias, I'm not really doing anything. The only way to kind of see this is, okay, we have news. What do we get on the news? Well, we have a bunch of failure swings down here. Oops. Right? Failure swings. What do? We sweep all these lows out, right? So then if we're going to put in or reach for these highs up here, do we get some sort of setup, right? And we get aggressive down, delivers up, down, up, fair value gap, right? So would be looking at this fair value gap, or bodies respect the consequent encroachment, moves higher. This then validates on the break, anticipating a reach for these highs. But then once we take these highs, fall back in the range, I don't think we retch up, right? Where do we go here? Generally on these news sweeps, then I'll use my discount premium from this body, right? You can go from body to body or whatever. But right, we reach back into a discount of this range. Now we're just kind of oscillating because why? We're stuck in this range here. So that's how I could have framed a trade off of that, but like personally, I'm not a huge fan there. But I look at monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, 15, 5, sometimes 1, but generally not really the 1. So I don't know what GU looks like. Probably pretty similar. Give me 1 sec. Nice. So GBP down there. So knowing that pound's stronger today, right? So I'd be looking for pound for a long. Doesn't sweep those lows, so we get an SMT with EU. Right, then we go look at 5-minute. Here's the SMT low after news release. Then we can use a higher time frame if we want, but that's our higher time frame breaker. Fair value gap. Right? And then it delivers to our morning highs. And then this continues a little higher. But yeah, if I was watching one today, it would have been GU, not EU, due to relative strength. But yeah. Although EU looks like more aggressive here, I still prefer that GU. Mostly because it swept all these lows. But yeah, not a whole lot to talk about there. I mean, there's lots of ways you can frame stuff. But yeah, this was the main topic of the video. I knew the video wasn't going to do great, just because it's kind of like niche. But as you can see, this was yesterday off of open, right? So when you saw it in my example video, but when we put in this high here, that's when I know that what NQ has relative strength all of yesterday, right? So if you look at 8:30 open, I mean 9:30 open on NQ, you can see it. This puts in that high around lunchtime and continue lower. And I'm expecting just this to continue down. So that's why going back to our NQ ES example here, right? Where would I expect relative strength? NQ. Where would I expect relative weakness? ES. That's shown just by SMTs between these two, right? You can see this low compared to this one. And then, you know, this low compared to this one, or you can go even this low. But also just looking at the hour, right? Let's just compare it to this 10 a.m. candle. We look at our close or open on the 10 a.m. NQ is currently above that. ES is below that. So hopefully you guys found the video somewhat insightful, even though it's a little difficult to comprehend sometimes. Let's see. Can we use ES and Q to find bias? I mean, you can test that out and see. All right, I just invited you to speak, LTS. All right, maybe you're not going to join, so we'll see. I invited you to, you requested to join, I invited you. Check out NQ 15 minute. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, I can hear you. Daily bias on EU. Okay. Oh, right there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if I don't have, like, if I'm not clear on something, then I just don't watch it. Like, I keep it pretty simple. Like, you saw last week how I knew this was, or I didn't know it was coming, but I, like, anticipated this movement, right? I can just pull it up on my screen real quick. Hold up. So, like, if we just, I guess I can't. Let's see. So, like, right here, for example, right? Anticipate this move higher. I'm still looking for this to go lower here. Once we complete this, I kind of reevaluate from there, right? And so for me, when people are like, "What's your bias for EU and stuff?" I don't really say anything because I'm not like super confident in anything right now, right? So how I I mean, I wouldn't say like higher IQ is the reason or something like that, but I mean, you can do whatever. I just generally focus on the weekly profile and PD arrays, or I mean, like the daily PD arrays, right? So, for example, if we're looking at the weekly here, I don't really care to be looking more so in the middle of this range here. And then we're kind of just at a conflict point, right? I'm not trying to pick highs and lows really, right? Yeah, that one, but that's not even really a high or a low, right? I'm not trying to get these, I'm just trying to get movements in here. If there's something that I'm not confident on, then I just don't look. And that kind of just comes down to what catches your eye, right? Like, I personally wouldn't have looked at this as my order block, right? I would have personally been looking at this, right? And then using like the mean threshold of that. But like, that's just how I view it, right? We go to a 2-day, like, you can use it however. That's just how I view it. I view those two full body consecutive candles that swept this low, right? If this wasn't very full body and this one was, then yeah, I would probably use the singular one. It's just like certain preferences that people do. But everyone's different in what they do, right? So what catches your eye might not catch my eye. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of days where I don't know what's going on. Like that happens. You're not. I mean, if you can know every single day what it's gonna do, like that's sick. I don't know that. So But all right. You have any other questions on that? I mean, we can always talk about it more in chat. But it's really like I kind of already talked about it. Yeah, large range, we sweep. Not super interested, right? For me personally. Now, if we didn't take the swing low, Monday was a smaller range, didn't take the swing low, and then we have Tuesday news, right? Because we have USD news in the morning, then I'd be looking short, right? But it's like there's lots of different things and moving parts that go into it, right? You have to find out what works for you. So, all right. Yeah. All right. I invited you to speak. Shockwaves. Let me see if there's any other questions first. All right. Let me see if there's any question. What's the topic for today? We're just talking about relative strength and then just kind of a morning review. We already did the morning review, so now we're just kind of answering some questions. I mean, this is what I was watching this morning, why I got my relative strength. Is it necessary to have market structure shift before we plan to put an entry on a PD array? That's up to personal backtesting and model, right? Everyone's different. Key points to focus on in terms of relative strength. I mean, if you watch my video, I kind of talk about it there. The main focus of that video was just this, right? If this is trending down, well then ES is going to be weaker than NQ, right? So if we go back to ES here, go to NQ there. Right? You can see the relative weakness here compared to here, right? We just mark out our 12 o'clock candle, right? Here's our range on the 12 o'clock candle, right? And ES versus, can't copy that over here, right? So you can kind of just see the relative strength there. That's just what I do personally. Let me go back to the chat. Let me grab some water. Oops, there goes my keys. If ES NQ1 is bearish, that's the opposite. If, pull this up. Okay. So if this is trending down, right, ES is first in this. So ES divided by NQ. If this is moving down, it means ES is weaker, right? And if we look right here, see how weaker move down takes previous day low. NQ is stronger. You can see that right there, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So you have it backwards. I personally don't watch PM session at all. So I do not give any anticipations for that. Let me see if I missed some questions in general chat. Why? I don't want to spend all day on charts, and I prefer the New York AM session. I use London and Asia's price action for New York versus, or for New York AM versus New York PM. I don't really have that. I have New York AM session. And generally, if we get an expansion move, it's going to happen quite often in the New York AM session. I don't like trading after large expansion moves. How do I have the time frame watermark? It's just called watermark light. I just put time frame in there. I had it on the bottom right, but I got like 100 different comments. People are asking what time frame it is on, so I just put it really large on the top of my screen. Yeah, it's Isabel. That's basically exactly it. I don't look at the VIX personally. Not saying that people can't. Everyone can do whatever they want, whatever works for them. This is just personally what I do. So, right, so you can see relative weakness, right? Let's just take a look at this 1145 candle here. Order block, right? See how NQ, we're not even closing below yet. So that's how I would determine relative strength or weakness. So if I was looking for a short, I'd be looking at ES. If I was looking for a long, I'd be looking at NQ, right? That's how it works for me. How did the prop firm algo turn out? Pass or fail? I'm not sure what you mean, prop firm algo. But I'm probably going to remove all my drawings here, because I'll just redo them later. But having too much on my screen, I don't like it. So. Yeah, I'm gonna have a video on using EG for relative strength. It's essentially the same concept. I mean, it kind of depends. It may or may not. If it's, let's pull up Forex Vector. Yeah, then I mean I'll likely not trade AM session. I mean, it kind of depends what the price action looks like. Generally, I can expect to seek and destroy, so external liquidity. Can you explain what you learned from the two SMTs you just removed? Well, if you go to the very beginning of this video, I was talking about the move down, right? Because if you just kind of look at this, right, where's our displacement? Displacement up, displacement up. Where's our displacement? Down, down, right? Down. So what I looked at is, okay, we have an SMT right here and right here, right? Signaling this could be a reversal, right? And what else? ES is relative weaker. Well, we also knew that from just the video today. So then with this, I'm not anticipating this high to be taken prior to sweeping new lows, right? So then that's when I go look for an entry model in here targeting new lows or previous day low. That's why I was using that SMT. I think you have the wrong videos. I don't have a algo. So but hopefully you guys can see how that video can be useful. Have we decided on a pair and study for the backtesting? This is not going to be a backtesting stream, but I am planning on doing some backtesting streams. For that, it'll probably either just be like a major or ES or NAS. Or we'll just choose something random like corn futures or something. I already answered that question. Sivaku? I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. Another SMT formed after the one you were talking about. Are you talking about this one? Like this internal one? Or like, I'm not sure which SMT you're talking about, unless you're talking about, you know, this pretty obvious one. After that. I mean, unless we're looking on a lower time frame. I mean, yeah, we had a lower time frame SMT at this high as well, looks like. Right, let's go zoom in here. So if we're looking at one of these highs over here, this high, 931, puts in the high, right? We don't take it out. 931, right in here, you know, we do that. So we also have the lower time frame SMT. I'm not sure which SMT you're trying to refer to. If you could give me time frame and like time, then I could look at it. All right, someone asked to speak, so we'll give that a go. And in the meantime, but all right, I'm not sure which SMT you're talking about, so can't really be helpful. All right. Not really much else I want to cover unless people have questions, so I'll probably hop off or call it here soon. Unless you guys have any ending questions you want answered. Yeah, of course. Do you have a hierarchy for your PD arrays? I mean, I focus on certain things. I don't use all the PD arrays. I really only focus on like old highs, old lows, fair value gaps, order blocks, and then we'll use mitigation breaker. It's like all I use. No sound. It's showing I have sound. Do I have a video on SMT? Yeah, I'll find that and throw it. If you watched my video today, I know a lot of people haven't. It just shows me the statistics so I can see. But I link that video in there as well. So here's the SMT video if you guys want to look at that. But if I have opposing PD arrays, which one do I respect more? I mean, that comes down to my higher time frame bias, right? Right? But before I end it, if you guys could, I'm just gonna plug it one more time. Just go take a look at this video, watch it through, leave a like, a comment, and then yeah, that will help me out. And then I'm probably gonna hop off, go outside, touch some grass. So. Are you gonna release a video about the 9:30 opening most frequent setups? I've never really thought about that. Probably not. And I find a lot of my trades occur prior to 9:30, or if I'm after 9:30, like before 10. Versus a lot of people, they like taking trades between the 10 to 11 area. I prefer to go a little earlier. Oh, how did I confirm this? I showed it in the beginning of the video, but what I did was I was watching this, right? Just this area right here. Because if we're going to get the price to support higher, it's going to be into here, right? Reach into here, go higher. But it's also down, up, down. I'm expecting this to kind of become a breaker block, right? Which you can see it did now. But I had that marked out. And then I was just watching for displacement, right? Well, where do we have displacement? Right here. I could have entered here, right? Anywhere in here. Where would my stop have to be? At this high, right? That or there. For me, that's just too large for just looking for new lows. So what I did was I just waited, saw this candle close. I'm expecting this to become an order block, right? If you look over here, you can see how that worked out. I'm expecting that to become an order block. So with that anticipation, I reached for this low. All I did was just entered in here. This should be entered right there. This should be an intermediate term high because it mitigated enough of the fair value gap there. And I just took 2R. That's all I did. Could have taken it to the previous day low as well, but that's just what I did. So for those of you that want to, are wondering how to pull up the ES over NQ chart, you just type in ES1 divided by NQ1 with the exclamation. Then you just hit enter. And then there you go. That is how you do it. Right? And so you can see how that worked out today. ES showing the relative weakness, right? I was relative strength all the way up to here. When this day failed, this started coming back through the range. That's when I switched to ES being weaker. So there we go. And we can just take a look, right? We look at the 11 a.m. candle. See how we already took that low on ES? Where are we on NQ? Right? So that's why I think it's important to know where the relative strength and weakness is. It just makes trading easier. I'm sure people have, you've taken a position on NQ and it just hasn't reached for a high where ES did. And you're like, why? Well, that's kind of what the goal of my video was to do. But I don't have a mitigation block video yet. No, I don't really have goals. I have goals, but I don't really focus too much on goals. The thing about goals, right? You hit them, you don't really feel a whole lot of satisfaction because you're just gonna have another goal on the horizon, right? You hit one goal, you make a new goal. So if you base your happiness off of hitting your goals and stuff like that, or just anything in life, you're gonna be quite empty because when you reach it, you're always gonna have a new goal. So I don't personally really make goals. I have goals, but it's I don't really care for them too much. But let's see. All right. With that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it up here an hour. I wasn't gonna do it anyways, or I wasn't gonna do this live stream, but we did. So appreciate you guys coming. If you could check out the video, it would make a lot more sense in terms of today's price action. So hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm gonna go ahead and end the live stream here. I think we got most of the questions, so hopefully that helped. But I'll see you guys all later. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.